All right, everyone, here's your last minute holiday prep checklist. So this checklist is last minute, me getting it out to you. Sorry, things have been a little chaotic, but this stuff is really important to make sure that you're doing these things now, in the future and in future months. A lot of this stuff applies across the board, no matter if it's the holidays or not. So I'm going to go through this so you guys know what's going on. You can double check this stuff so you can optimize the holidays. It is a busy time of the year, so it's easy to miss stuff. So at a minimum, you can just go through and make sure that you're doing all this stuff so you can get the biggest bang for your buck this holiday season. That's what I want for you. We're in the thick of it now. Things are picking up. Traffic's picking up. Sales are about to pick up a lot, so hopefully you're seeing that in your shop. If you guys don't know me, I'm LL. I help other Etsy sellers start, build, and grow their shops. My best performing shop has reached over $500,000 in sales, which is crazy. I'm showing that just to show you what's possible and that I know a thing or two. I've learned a thing or two, which I'm sharing. And I have the Etsy Games VIP community. This is my private community to help Etsy sellers start, build, and grow their shops. A very supportive, motivational community. All new members get a one-on-one onboarding coaching call with me to go over their shops and improve and strategize. All right, so let's dive in. So the first thing that we want to make sure is update and use your share and save tracked shop link. All right, so this is what, if you're doing social media or you're publishing your listings, or you're sharing it outside of the platform, make sure you're using the share and save link. So if you go to any of your listings, you're going to see this little gear box. Make sure you're clicking that gearbox, and then you will see this button here for share and save. And then it's going to give you a link, which you can just copy that link. And as you're sharing your stuff out on your social media, if you have a blog or wherever you're sharing it, make sure you're using the share and save link, because you will save 4% discount on fees when someone clicks on that link, comes to Etsy, and buys your thing. So just make sure that is updated. Hopefully you've been using it. It's been around for a couple of years. Just double check that. If you have like old stuff, maybe a good time. If you have kind of a down period, you may be able to go back and update that stuff. Check your bio links, Facebook bios, all your bios. Number 2, add listing videos. Try to. This should be an ongoing thing to add videos, because it does help with conversion rates, because it stops the scroll, right? That's the key. When someone's scrolling through Etsy, they're going to see 1,000 listings, but when they hover over the listings, it's going to immediately play a video. So you want to stop that scroll and hopefully engage them with a video. So it helps you stand out. It reduces customer confusion. You can use Canva or CapCut. Canva's probably the easiest. A lot of you probably already use Canva anyways. There's a free version of Canva, which you can turn a still image into a moving image very easily, whether you just do a zoom into your image. Anything is better than nothing. You can always perfect it and improve upon it later. That's really key, is just some type of image, so it gets them, it's some type of something out there that kind of stops the scroll, that kind of is in their face. If I could spit that out, I'm struggling today. The other thing too is make sure when you do a video, the other key point here, kind of a bonus, is don't show your logo. Don't show anything that's not clear or that's kind of waste time. You literally have 1 second to engage them. So show your item. That's why they're here. You want to entice them with your item, show a close up of your item, a zoom in of your item right away. A lot of people will do some fancy intro or some logo intro, and people don't care about that. Unfortunately, I know it matters to you, it matters to me, but it doesn't matter to the people buying the thing. They want to buy the thing. So make sure you're doing that. Number 3, stock up on shipping and product supply. So things run out and it gets harder to find things around the holidays, and you want to make sure you have enough. And the worst thing to happen is if you run out of supplies and you have to wait for the order of them to come in. It could take days. It could take weeks, depending on where you're getting the stuff from. So holiday shortages are real. I've had it happen where I've literally had to drive to a warehouse 2 hours away to get supplies that I ran out of, that I didn't prepare for. So just make sure that you're ready and you have a little bit of a backlog of supplies. So whether that is shipping supplies, which you should always have, a little bit of a surplus of shipping supplies, but also the materials. If you do handmade and you make your stuff, make sure you have enough materials. The nice thing about it is, if you order extra, it's a write-off for this year. So a lot of companies and a lot of big businesses will order supplies and materials that they know they're going to use the next year, but they're ordering it this year, so it inflates their costs so they can write off more this year, and it lowers their income for this year, and then it carries over to next year, and that's less stuff they got to buy next year. So that's one way to look at it. Another thing you can consider doing is adding gift wrapping. So you can add a gift wrapping option for an upcharge on your listings. And a lot of people will like to take advantage of that around the holidays because they don't want to gift wrap the stuff themselves. Just make sure you're charging enough so it's worth your time and materials, right? Don't just do gift wrapping for like $2. That's not enough. You got to, take your time into account, take the materials into account, but it could be a nice little revenue boost if people want to take advantage of that. The other thing is make sure you have nice packaging. And this applies any time of the year, but a lot of people are coming to Etsy that are buying gifts for other people that have never been on the platform before, that have never seen your shop or bought from your shop. And if they love your item, there's a good chance they're going to come back and buy from you, or at least at a minimum, hopefully come back and buy something from Etsy. But make a first impression. A lot of people buying gifts, they want the stuff to come nicely packaged. So don't just ship out stuff in a garbage bag or something weird, right? It's not a good first impression. So make sure you're shipping your stuff out nicely. Number 4, double check your inventory accuracy. So just make sure that your inventory is correct. This is probably more for POD sellers. So you got to make sure that your stuff that's synced with the POD companies, if you use Printful, Printify, that you actually have those. They have those variations in stock. A lot of POD companies are removing items or limiting stock for items. So you want to make sure that you have those items in stock. The worst thing to happen is someone to order something and it's out of stock, and you have to message them and be like, hey, we don't have this. It kind of stinks, especially around the holidays when they probably bought it as a gift and they're going to be very frustrated. So just make sure that you have enough inventory. Less for physical stuff, less if you can remake it, it's less, it matters less, because if it runs out, if they order it and then you can remake it, as long as you have enough materials, it's really no skin off your back. It doesn't really matter that much. So just make sure that you have the right stock. Now if you have like 10 items listed, and you got to keep in mind, someone may buy more than one item. So just make sure that you don't have 10 items listed and you only have enough materials to make 2, and then someone orders 5. So that's probably the biggest thing with physical items. The next one, number 5, is review and update shop policies and FAQs. So just make sure, this is a good refresher. You should be doing this every couple of months anyhow. Make sure all your shop sections are filled out. Make sure all your policies are filled out. Make sure you have a FAQ section and it's applicable to frequently asked questions that buyers may have. You can throw in some emojis to make it easier to read. Just go through and refresh. You should be doing this anyways around the holidays. Especially if you have holiday items, you should be refreshing your banner image, your featured item images, and items just to appeal to the holiday shoppers. And then after the holidays, you would revert that stuff back. Number 6, holiday shipping deadlines. Make sure you're putting these everywhere. I used to say put it in your announcement section, but Etsy moved the announcement section to the bottom, which is weird. You can still put it there, but it's less apparent. So you can add it to your banner image. You can add a line in your Etsy listings. You can bulk edit your Etsy listings and add that shipping deadline at the very top of the description. And then after the holidays, you can remove that, just so it's clear. You don't want people to order something thinking it's going to be delivered by Christmas and then they don't get it. It's going to cause a lot of frustration and a lot of bad reviews. That's really the key. So just make sure you're protecting yourself and you have it everywhere. At USPS, they put out the shipping deadlines. So they're pretty much the same every year. So the shipping deadlines are December 17th for Ground Advantage, First Class. Priority is December 18th, and then Express is December 20th. I never use these to put for buyers. Like, I wouldn't use these because you need time to fulfill the orders. And for POD, it's going to be way before this, right? So just make sure you're giving yourself a buffer. So I always do a couple of days before these deadlines. So like I would do like December 14th or 15th for these shipping deadlines, just to give myself a buffer to actually have time to fulfill the orders, especially if you're making your items, because you don't want to run into that. If it's December 17th and you get 10 orders that day, you're going to miss that deadline if you have to make the stuff, right? It's going to be really hard to get that stuff in the mail before USPS closes. Another kind of pro tip is if you're running tight and you live close to an airport, most USPS, most airports have USPS posts or hubs inside the airport, especially like international ones. So keep that in mind. If you have an airport close, a lot of them are open till like 10, 11 p.m. at night around the holidays. You could literally take your stuff there and drop it off if you're running into some last minute shipping issues or running close to the deadline. So keep that in mind. That's kind of like a buffer there for you if you're close. A lot of people aren't that close to airports, but a lot of people are. A lot of people are within like a half hour or an hour. So yeah, that's only if you really need to do that. Number 7, I already said this, kind of got ahead of myself. Post your deadline everywhere. Etsy banner, shop announcement, FAQ section, listing descriptions. You can even throw in a product photo because you can bulk edit product photos as well. So you can put it as one of your product photos and then just take it out. I would just put it at the same place. And then you can bulk edit and take that out. And photos are a good place for important information because people are like boom, 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 boom through the photos. So you don't have to think of photos as just for pictures of the item. Think of it in terms of how can I better sell and represent this item, but also how can I give buyers the important information that they're more likely to see than buried down in the description. Number 8, rifling through this stuff. So prep repetitive tasks ahead of time. So if you want to pre-stuff packaging in boxes or pre-write handmade thank you cards, which is good, especially if you're a newer seller to make a really good impact. Pre-schedule social media and holiday posts. So you should always be doing that anyways. You should be bulk scheduling any type of posts, whether it's emails or social media. A lot of platforms have a scheduler, like Facebook has a scheduler built in that you can use through the Business Hub. But there's schedulers third-party schedulers that you can use as well. You prepare, save replies for FAQs. So you can save default messages inside of Etsy. So any common messages that you get, you want to save those, and then you can just easily use those and send those out really, really fast. So you're not typing out a message from scratch every time. So think of the common messages that you may get or have already gotten, and just create templates for those. Another kind of bonus tip for you is make sure you have the Sell on Etsy app and you have push notifications set up for messages so that you know immediately when someone's sending you a message, you can reply immediately. There's no better way to get a sale and kind of wow someone than replying to their message within a couple of seconds. So I always like to play this game where I like to see how fast I can reply and blow people away because they're like, holy crap, I've gotten it a lot of times, like, man, that was a fast reply, because they're just not used to that. Outside of driving, obviously you don't want to drive and do it. But most of the time, if you're just sitting at a desk or whatever, you can stop what you're doing and just reply really fast, which is good. It's good first impression. So all this stuff will help kind of reduce stress. So think of stuff that you can kind of preemptively schedule or get ready for the influx. So number 9, prepare for, I think it's safe to prepare for a 2 to 3 times increase in orders, especially if you're a more established shop. If you're a newer shop, you're probably not going to see a huge influx. Maybe you will. It's kind of harder to say. But if you're an established shop and you're already getting a decent number of consistent sales, 2 to 3 times that I think is kind of a normal influx. So just make sure that you're ready for that. So make sure you're checking your inventory and everything, and can handle that from a time range standpoint. Especially if you're handmade and you're making that stuff, it takes you a while to make the stuff. Just make sure you can handle that influx. And if you run into trouble, if you get backlogged and you start getting a lot of orders, good problem to have, right? It's a great problem to have. Most of us would love that problem. But sometimes you can get buried. You just never know what will happen. Like if you get sometimes you get featured. I got featured before on BuzzFeed, and I got a huge influx in orders. I was like, what is going on? And I figured out where my traffic was coming from. But you could get featured on Etsy's editor picks, BuzzFeed, gift guides. You just never know. So you have to be ready for it. So if that does happen, you have a couple of options. You can increase your processing times, so make it longer. So that's going to limit orders because people want stuff faster. You can extend shipping windows, right? So you can make the processing times and the amount of time that you're shipping it longer. And the last thing is raise prices. I would probably start with raising prices first and see what that does. That'll probably limit some orders, but then you're going to be making more money per order. And in some cases, you can be making more money than you made before with less orders, which is great. That's the fantastic problem to have, right? Working less, making more money. But then if you're still seeing orders fly in, then maybe you want to either raise prices a little bit more or raise prices and increase processing times as well. Number 10, create bundles and gift sets. So think of ways that you can curate your shop to better fit the holidays and Christmas. Can you do like a gift giving pack? Can you do gifting for weddings, Airbnbs, retail buyers? So can you put stuff together to create a bundle or a set for gift giving? This helps raise the order value, the order revenue per customer, revenue per order. And it's also a good upsell opportunity. If you have a one-off item and then you have it in a set, you can drop that link in the description for the set, and someone may buy that, and that's going to be an upsell. And you can also optimize these bundles. If you're creating bundles specifically for the holidays, you're going to use those holiday keywords, which is going to give them better reach potential for people looking for that specific thing. And here's some bonus, because I like you guys, I'm going to give you some bonus strategies to kind of keep in mind. First, add holiday shop sections, right? So you're able in your Etsy shop to add not that banner and the about section. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the actual listing sections on the left-hand side. You think about how you can add holiday listing sections. So maybe you do like Christmas gifts 2025 and you throw your Christmas stuff in there. And that is a great long tail keyword combination. Or like Christmas, if you have something specific, maybe like Christmas gifts for nurses 2025. So if you sell those specific things, curate those sections with the keywords, going to help you show up more in search, and it's going to help customers when they come to your shop find those curated sections and have that stuff where it's just going to be a better user experience for them. You can redo best sellers with holiday keywords. I wouldn't change the current listings. Anytime you do that, it's going to mess up the SEO. It's going to mess up the algorithm, especially with best sellers. Don't mess with them. Leave them, sit them, and forget them. But you can duplicate those listings, change the keywords, and add new keywords for the holidays, for Christmas, Christmas gift, 2025, all those things to help it show up when people are searching that way. Because a lot of people around the holidays are searching for, Christmas gift for dad or Christmas wallet gift for dad or different things like that. So you can introduce those specific search terms in your listing, with whether it be title, tags, and in your description, to better show up for those search results. Add personalization options, especially for holiday items. If you do ornaments, if you can add a name on them or some type of insignia, that stuff is just going to be more valuable. So you can charge more, and it's going to be more valuable. It's going to help you stand out. So anytime you can add personalization, that's really kind of a big deal, especially now. A lot of people like stuff personalized. Run sales. Make sure you're running sales. It helps you show up. It helps from the front end when people see a markdown price. From a psychological standpoint, people love sales. They love getting a deal. Everyone's going to be doing it. So you got to make sure that you're kind of keeping up with that, and just also finding ways to stand out on the front end. If you run a sale, it stands out. They show the markdown price. It's a good way to stand out. Maybe you want to do free shipping versus running a sale. Both work. I think running a sale works a little bit better. So just keep that in mind. The last one here for you guys is make sure you add a discount on your packing slip. So you can do this within Etsy. When you go to your packing slips, you can edit it and you can include a message, which I recommend that you do, a thank you message. And then also ask them to leave a review as well. If they're happy, just say, I really appreciate it if you leave a 5-star review. And then also there's a button you can click on there within Etsy to add a coupon, right? You can add whatever discount you want, 10, 15, 20% for future orders. It automatically puts it there. So as I talked about before, a lot of these people are getting gifts from other people, and they may never even shopped on Etsy, and they probably specifically have never shopped from your store. So if they're getting a packing slip that has a discount for a future order, you're increasing the likelihood that they'll come back and order from you if they like the product that they got as a gift. So just make sure you're giving them incentive to do so with a discount on the packing slip. So that's great. Now, if you want to include a custom handwritten thank you note with your coupon code on there as well, you can do that, whatever the case may be. It's a little bit harder to do if you get a lot of orders. The packing slip that you just print off is a little bit easier, or you can print off that packing slip and then write a custom, handwritten thank you so much for your purchase, just something small, so they can see, okay, there's a packing slip, then they hand wrote on it as well, which is a little bit, goes a little bit of, the extra mile, which is kind of cool. All right, that was a lot. That's all for today. That is this entire list, which if you join the VIP community, I'll throw it in here for you guys that you can easily download. If you don't, no big deal. I'll catch you guys on the next video. I look forward to helping you some more with your Etsy business and as much growth as possible. I'll be back soon. Have an amazing rest of your day, guys.